Hello again. This time we're going to learn how we can connect to um, a MySQL server from a command line using a PHP script. And the script to do that, let's just go ahead to the code straight away. The code to do that looks like this. Don't remember our beautiful interpreter in the first line using the hash and exclamation mark and then the full path to the interpreter, and then angle brackets, angle brackets, question marks, and PHP, as you know, opening and closing. Now, as you know, to define variables or to declare variables in PHP, that's the syntax of doing it. We use a dollar mark and then we give a variable name equals and then we give it a value. So I'm using here a DB host, a database host, which is my local host, and I'm passing it a string value. DB host, localhost, and then port 3063 or 36, so 3036. That's the port on which MySQL runs. I expect you to know what a port number is and what it means and how, you know, in general, just roughly how this idea of connecting to a local host or to a remote host using port number works. But anyway, even if you have a remote host, you can specify the path there. Instead of localhost, you can specify the full path, and then you provide the port number, but make sure that your network administrator allows that, opens up that port number for you. Otherwise, the firewall will not let you connect. Anyway, I actually, by the way, before I forget, I actually have a MySQL tutorial from command line. You can check my YouTube channel in there. I show you how to do a lot of stuff from command line, not from PHP scripts now, just from command line, which is again can be used to perform operations and processes on a remote host after connecting to it. Anyway, in that tutorial, I create a database called TeamsDB and I create a user called Chris and I give him password Chris 2014. So let's use these to connect to our server. Um, Back to declaring variables, dollar db host, and then we give the value of the host, again localhost colon port number, db user Chris, db password pass Chris 2014, and then we're going to use the MySQL underscore connect function. Usually functions in PHP have this form. They start. I'm sorry, function in in PHP, yes. To connect to MySQL, they usually have MySQL or MySQL prefix and underscore, and then the function name, which is usually very meaningful. So when you say MySQL connect, you immediately understand that this function is used to connect to a MySQL server. Anyway, so MySQL connect, and then we provide it with a database host, which is this, with the username, which is this, and with the password, which is this. And then we are retrieving a connection object now, and we check that object. If the connection is successful, that connection should not be null, otherwise it will be null. So we're saying here if not con, i.e., if the connection is not true, then die. Just say cannot connect to server, display an error, and then exit. Die. That means we just end the script and exit. Otherwise, just echo we connected successfully, and then close the connection. Enough talking. Let's save this. Behind your backs, when I created this, I added execute permission to this file the usual way. This way, just by doing change mode, and then to run that script, we just say connect, and we can see that it has connected successfully. Now to show you how that this die function works, when something goes wrong, let's change the password and say, for example, it's 2013 rather than 14, or let's say 2034 2034, and our MySQL server will not like that, as you can see, and it's telling me that access denied for user Chris at localhost to the rest of it. So let's correct that 2014, and then we can connect successfully. That's how you can connect. Remember to provide these three values or variables or parameters to the MySQL connect function, and you should be able to do that very easily. Remember your PHP interpreter in the beginning always, and that's how you usually do it. Remember again that whatever you can do between these opening and closing angle brackets, this stuff here, you can do this as I showed you in the first video. You can run this stuff in your HTML code. Let's go back quickly to this here. You can actually run this stuff here in here between these angle brackets if you want to do that from your web server. Thank you very much indeed for watching, and I'll see you next time.